Been looking forward to this as when I learned about it. Um, there's a theme of Williams, actually, because I also applied to Williams, and I also didn't get in, thank God. So I came here, and we beat Williams in lacrosse that year. So I think we beat them many times over those years. So have they won ever, Williams? Anyway, so I've pulled together some thoughts that might help you as you kind of look at what you want to do after Middlebury. And there's a lot of ways to think about the experiences I had and how I'm going to try and package them and convey them. But I came up with one man's risk is another man's reward. And so what is risk anyways? It prompted me to go to the dictionary, and it turns out that the definition of risk is possibility of loss or injury. Well, that's not really what you want to do, right? You just don't want to just do that because there's no real upside. So really, why would anybody embrace risk? So if you think about it, there's a couple of reasons. For entrepreneurs, for people who join startups, the prospects of a tangible reward is one of the reasons people go to a company who essentially has no product, no revenue, no history. So it's all on the upside. Second thing is, and for people who are kind of adventurers in life and take on challenges themselves, this is a pretty important one. It's the intangible reward. And it's really the experience and learning you get from the activity that could be risky that is the reward. The third, honestly, we're all people. There's the thrill of it. There's the thrill of something in your gut when you do something that's got some risk in it, the consequences of failure. And so there's a bit of an adrenaline factor to the whole thing. Each of us will come down in a different place with respect to these sorts of rewards. In my personal case, it turns out to be option E, all of the above. So I've got a recent adventure, which is the story of A123, but there's a couple of important prelude points before I get into the story of A123. One was Outward Bound. I'd always wanted to do Outward Bound when I was a kid, never got the chance. And so I actually did it the summer before co-founding A123. I did the Hurricane Island version of Outward Bound. Who here knows what Outward Bound or Knowles is? Yeah, I'm not surprised. Many people know about it. I really encourage you to do it if you're at all interested in the outdoors. It's a great experience. The brochure for Hurricane Island featured sailing, rock climbing, and camping. You can see the boat that we spent, me and 11 other strangers, we spent a week on that boat out in Penobscot Bay. It was a great experience. The brochure also talks about personal growth through experience and challenge, which is one of those intangible rewards. And what wasn't disclosed is that when the wind doesn't blow, you row. And you row, and you row. And the wind didn't actually blow a lot that week, so I had a good back workout multiple days. Best advice I've ever gotten so far anyways, and this top one you've probably seen. Steve Jobs died recently. He gave a speech in Stanford, which has been circulated quite a bit, and one of the themes of that speech, which affected me a bit when I read it, but resonated for other reasons, was figure out what you love to do, pursue your passions. You've all heard this, and you really should do it. But there's a part B to this advice that's also very important. And the part B is, and find someone to pay you to do it. If you just go out and pursue your dreams and nobody pays you to do it, it's not a sustainable model. So you really want to combine the two of those elements. So armed with that advice coming out of grad school, I spent some time at a different MIT spinoff for 10 years, kind of grew up, got some gray hair, figured out what works, what doesn't. And then an MIT professor, an entrepreneur, and myself co-founded A123 back in 2001. It's been a tremendous experience. Not all startups go like this, so be careful of that. But we've had a great experience so far. It's by many measures, it's been wildly successful. We have a few other measures we still have to work on, and we are. But at this point, 10 years into the company, and it's 10 years for me this month that I started it or left my other job. We have 3,000 employees worldwide. We're producing millions of these advanced lithium-ion batteries that you may have heard about in the popular press. Hundreds of tons of so-called nanomaterials. You may have heard about nanotechnology. The technology we developed is actually based on nanotechnology. We have over 1 million square feet in manufacturing facilities around the world. We have a manufacturing campus in China, about 2 hours west of Shanghai. We have an engineering and pilot production facility an hour south of Seoul, and over the past year, we've opened 2 large factories in the metropolitan Detroit area. So we're out there producing batteries, working to change the world, investing lots of money to do this. We went public a couple years ago, so we're A1 on NASDAQ if you're curious about it. The stock is relatively low at the moment. I can't officially comment on whether or not it's good to buy or sell, so I won't. Core markets. So just a little bit about the company. Renewable energy, electrification of vehicles, better batteries, these are all things that we do at the company. We have 3 main markets: transportation, so plug-in hybrids, electric vehicles. You may have heard of the Chevy Volt, the Nissan Leaf, and the most famous of the electrified vehicles is the Toyota Prius. Heavy-duty trucks and buses, that's a pretty big deal. In fact, last year it was our largest revenue source. And if you go to New York City, there's a bus depot at Broadway and 106th, and a lot of the buses there have a big battery on top, and that's an A123 battery. So hybrid trucks and buses are great because it's a great application in terms of improving fuel efficiency. Electric grid, you've heard about wind and solar, and essentially moving from oil for both strategic reasons for security of this country, and also oil's not a renewable resource, so it will go away someday. We'll use it all. We'll need to rely on other things. So moving to grid and solar is great. But, solar and wind is great, but the sun goes behind clouds and the wind can die. So you need some type of energy storage capability whenever you think about putting lots of wind and solar on the grid. So it's a good move for batteries. And then finally, in commercial and industrial, everybody always wants a better battery. So this is the basic markets that we're serving. I'm not going to go too much into technology. Really, the rest of the talks going to talk about the history and kind of things that I've learned from it that I'll try and package and convey to you, and you can kind of think about it as you'd like. So I'm going to go sequentially over the 11 years, talk to a number of the various elements that have been important in our history as a company, but really to try and give you a sense of how they might be able to help you to think about embracing risk, pursuing your dreams, and whatnot. Choose good investors. So this is the part about and find somebody to pay you to do it thing. I kind of knew that in my case I like this interesting space of science and business, that one of the hardest jobs in the world is to be an industrial scientist because you're relying on Mother Nature, who's not always gracious or kind, and yet you need to do it in a business context, which is ultimately driven by low risk, return on investment, and quarter-by-quarter growth. So it's kind of an interesting place to kind of carve out a career because you're dealing at this frontier of what's possible, but trying to make it real very quickly. Getting somebody to pay you to do it, it could be a boss at a company, it could be a series of investors, and really when you sign up for a job, you really want to sign up for somebody who's your boss or investors who are somebody that you can connect with, someone who's in it for the long term, hopefully, and really somebody that you can ultimately trust to have your back. In the end, you've got to perform. That's the nature of the beast. It is a biological system after all. And so you do need to be able to deliver results, but you want to be working with a guy or for a guy that is understanding of that. Choose a good team. So this is the original, 8 guys there from late 2001, early 2002. I personally phone interviewed 600 people to fill 20 spots. And that was kind of the level of importance of getting that right team was. You want passion, you want capability, and you want good teamwork. And those are really 3 most important aspects in a company environment. So when you're thinking of joining a team or forming a team, really think of those sorts of things. The capability, the energy, and then the ability to work and play well with others. Be flexible. You'll see this a couple of times. The company was founded on a particular idea to make better batteries. We raised $8 million from a series of venture capital guys, built a core team around it, had a business model, and we're off to the races. It turns out that Mother Nature was not kind in this regard, and the idea didn't work. Fortunately, another idea came along, And that one did work, and that was the basis for the first set of products and technology and what's out there in the marketplace now. And the company, essentially, and the people involved were, the good news is, sufficiently flexible to see reality and to make a move and adjust. Startups are funny things. Each one has its own DNA. And Desh Deshpande, who's chairman of the board and pretty big guy in the venture circles in the Boston area, met with me after the first year, and he said that A123's, one of its greatest strengths was really the flexibility of the senior guys in the team. So be flexible in the face of reality. Choose good customers or make them choose you. Again, it's about people. And so we've talked about the boss or the investors. Now we're talking about the people, and we've talked about the team, the people that you're working with. Now it's the people that you're selling to. And again, it's a similar situation. You want to find good quality people that you can sell to or that you can work with on the customer side. And we've been fortunate, again, in that regard. Black & Decker is a leader in essentially industrial power tools. General Motors, everyone here knows. And AES is a leader in the grid area. And we've developed a product and launched a market with them. So you really want to look for quality on the customer side as well. Be bold. So this has come up in another presentation, and it is an important point. Having confidence, having the courage of your convictions, those are all good things. And if you see a play, make it strongly and clearly and directly. In our case, we saw a play in the power tool space. At the time that we approached Black & Decker with our idea, we were 20 people with half a gram of this new nanotechnology material, no experience of making a battery product, no manufacturing capability, and no presence in the market. To Black & Decker's credit, they bet on us, and they bet on us over the entire established battery industry, which at the time was led by the Japanese and the Koreans. And the end of the story is that we pulled it off. We went in over a 3-year period from essentially nothing to a qualified manufacturing facility in China and a set of products that you see highlighted in that chart with the power tool. So in our case, we were bold and we set the industry in a new direction. The line of power tools here, this 36-volt line of power tools, actually has more power in it than you can get out of a wall socket. So for the first time ever, there was a technology that was capable of delivering something that nothing else could do in a cordless format in this industry, and it did change the game. The problem was that the timing was a little off, and we launched the product into the housing recession. So the business didn't take off like we hoped. We were able to get a place in the industry and leverage from it, but it wasn't the big business win that might have been the case if there was a better market situation. Take all the help you can get. Kind of an interesting point here. The government, these are both government agencies. The government, many businesses want to stay away from the government, that the regulatory aspects, the paperwork, the constraints on the business just aren't good. But in the high-tech world, they can be a valuable tool. And this group, the USABC group, provided important third-party validation of our products for automotive. And the other group, the Recovery Act, we received $250 million of federal grants to help us build factories in the US. So you really do want to take help when you can get it. Spread the risk out. You want to, the other speaker said that risk, you want to take calculated risk, and it's true. And if you bet your startup on one particular idea and that idea doesn't work, like the housing market going soft, then the whole business can get into trouble. And so we've broadened from just the power tool base out into automotive and also into the grid area. So we've mitigated risk by taking a single technology and applying it to multiple markets. Seize the opportunities that come along. So I've got 2 points here. One is this technology, or the Recovery Act. Some of the Obama administration's plan to deal with the economic downturn of a couple of years ago. We got $250 million in grants out of it, and we were also able to go public. And so there is this opportunity that on the face of it was a softening in the overall economy and a recession, but for us it was a good thing, and we packaged it and found a way to move it forward, and it helped the company out quite a bit. So seize those opportunities. I'll mention it again because it is so important. Be flexible. It turns out that when we built or started to build the factories in Michigan, we had a strategic alliance with Chrysler Corporation. We were going to be their battery partner. It turns out that Fiat bought Chrysler as they were coming out of bankruptcy, and Fiat changed Chrysler's business model and strategy and took a step back from electrified vehicles. So we were building factories with no customers. We were flexible. We identified a small up-and-coming car company called Fisker. You can look at the internet and learn about Fisker. They're a little bit like Tesla. You've probably heard about Tesla, another small EV car company. And so we were able to fill the factory with business from Fisker. Then the last couple of charts bringing me back to the Outward Bound experience. Sail when you can. When the markets are good, you go public, you raise money, you become liquid. As a founder, that's a good thing. Those are the tangible rewards point. But the reality is that it really is quite hard to build a business and build an industry. And so you end up doing a lot of rowing. So row when you must. Our first manufacturing facility was in China. The venture capital guys don't like owning factories, so we had to go to where we could work with others in their factories or do factories very cheaply and quickly. That was China. And so I ended up going to China about 40 times over a 4 to 5 year period. It was just a crazy time in my life, and I felt like I did a lot of rowing right then. I have over 1.5 million frequent flyer miles, so if you need a status, just let me know, and I'll bring you into the first class lounge or whatnot. So anyway, the end of the story isn't yet written. Right now, our stock is essentially at an all-time low right now. The market is soft. The tide is turned on green tech. You may have heard about solar companies that are going bankrupt, and there's political problems in Washington as a result because they got loans. These solar companies got loans from the federal government. Our business, it's taken us longer to get the profitability than we thought. And nevertheless, the challenges are there, and I'm doing what I love, and so I'm a happy guy where I am. I'd like the stock a little bit higher, but nevertheless, somebody's paying me to do what I love to do, and I'm pursuing my dreams. So thank you.